Hello, hello, good evening everyone for Europeans and good day for my American friends. I am excited for today because I have the one and only, the legend, the myth, Eli Goings. Hello Eli, how are you?
Hi Sam, doing well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, thank you so very much. For people watching me, I said in the past, I'm in the middle of moving, so my apartment's going to be a dump. It's okay right now, but pretty soon, what you see in the back is going to be like a huge mess. So it's exciting that I can do this, but it's also a bit hectic. When I started planning this, I wasn't planning on moving anytime soon, but yeah. Anyway, that's not very relevant right now. Eli, I'm so happy to have you here, man, because I think this is one of those matchups, Infect versus Goblins. I wouldn't say it's as old as Legacy itself, but it's pretty old, right?
Yeah, definitely goes all the way back to, I mean, as long as Infect has been a thing, this matchup's been a thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I actually don't know this, but has Goblins been around since the beginning of Legacy? I guess so, right?
Yes, it is arguably the oldest deck in the format, since it won the first Legacy Grand Prix in 2005 was
Awesome.
won by Goblins. It was Jonathan Sun and Chris Pikula in the finals. Dead Guy L versus Goblins.
Nice. Did you play then already, or was that just
No,
too
no, no.
soon?
I'm only 24, and I mean, I'm playing Magic since I was a really little kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I was technically playing then, but
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
no awareness of the competitive scene really. Uh,
Awesome.
I had some of the Goblins Onslaught cards from opening packs of Onslaught. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
When did you start playing the deck?
Goblins in I started building it in 2015.
2015. Okay. What was
Um,
the set? Was that Zendikar around that period, or is it? Was it later or sooner?
I guess I think it was a little after uh yeah, I guess a little after Battle for Zendikar. Yeah, because I
Battle
was
for Zendikar.
building.
Battle for
Yeah,
Zendikar is, I think, wasn't that like 2 years ago? Not sure.
it was a little more than that, but it was it was the year after Khan's block, I think.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
My head is completely wrong with these things. Then,
because Khan's was 2014. I'm pretty darn sure because
really, wow, Jesus,
that was
I'm
my
so
freshman year of
wrong.
college.
I'm so wrong then. Wow, that's just in my head. It's all it's all so recent, but it's clearly
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But I'm 30 years old, so I guess that's the reason why, man. Although I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe I only started playing Magic a bit later. I started playing when Zendikar was when released, but by no means that was my intention to ever play competitive Magic. It's actually quite
Yeah.
funny. That was never my intention.
Yeah, I basically learned to read playing Magic.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
I was the youngest kid on my block, and I was like 3 or 4 years old with my first Magic cards.
That's cool. If did you were playing with tropical islands then, etc. Like for
No,
your
no,
lands.
no. I don't. I do have like some painful memories of getting rid of cards that are expensive now.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah. If you look,
I have like
those
a
are the
distinct,
things you want to block outside of your mind, right?
yeah, I have a distinct memory of throwing a Sensei's Dividing Top in the garbage when I was cleaning my room once.
Yikes.
Um, but like some of the cards I still use today are from back then. Like I still have, like I had a War Chief, a Pile Driver, and I think two Aether Vials I had because I really loved Mirrodin Block.
Nice.
Like me and
That's
like everybody else, I built an Affinity deck because Affinity was silly.
That's
Frogmite,
pretty
you
awesome.
know.
It's cool when you can keep these old cards right from the start. That's definitely true. Quickly want to say hello to everyone in chat. I don't know if you have the chat open, Eli, or do
I
you want
do,
me
yeah, yeah.
to? Okay,
Yeah,
great. Then I don't
I
have
paused
to.
your stream and then I can just keep the chat open so I
Okay,
can
sweet.
see what
That's
people are
cool.
saying.
That's cool. So, hello everyone, welcome for joining. Turn on Thoughtseize, thanks for the follow. Off right from the start, that's pretty cool. We can chat a bit more, but what do you think? Maybe we should just play a game and we can chat more afterwards. What do you think?
Sure.
Quickly, I want to say to everyone in stream watching that we know each other's deck lists. We sent the deck lists beforehand to each other, so we have full information. We think that's best because then we can play like the best way, I believe. And also,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
going to play as if we know what we are playing against. So that's also important to know because otherwise, you would maybe keep a hand that's bad against you, and you would do this against me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Right.
if you have revealed deck lists, then I feel like it reduces the number of non-games for the most part.
Definitely. I mean, it's not like we're playing a tournament here or anything. We're just here to have a bunch of laughs. So let's just see where we end up. So I'm going to challenge you. Let's hope I don't screw this up.
There you go.
I hope this works. I hope I selected the correct deck because I didn't get the option to. So it's possible that I'm playing with your list right now.
So you do 61 cards. I think you might.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm quickly going to concede.
All right. We don't want to play the Goblins, man.
I've literally never. Oh, that's not true. Actually, this may be a funny story. My first ever tournament was with Goblins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a friend of mine, and he asked me, "Don't you want to play? What do you think about playing like a Friday Night Magic and just play Legacy? It's great fun. You should definitely do this." And I was like, "I don't know, man. It's not my thing. I don't wanna do this. It's not my thing." But he said, "Come on, man, give it a try." And I'm like, "You know what? I'll just play along." So he stops asking me because he already asked me so many times. I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And he gave me Goblins. And a funny thing, I actually won that Friday Night Magic. And yeah, I haven't stopped since. It's just once you get the hang of it, it's.
That's great. That's a great story.
Unfortunately, I haven't played Goblins since. I don't know why, but it was like.
I've peaked with my Goblins ability.
Yeah, exactly. And I can literally say that I am unbeatable with Goblins because they were only 3 rounds.
100%.
So, yeah,
100%
exactly. Okay, now I have 60 cards, so I should be good.
All right, check your sideboard. Make sure it's the right one.
Good idea. Okay, I have the correct sideboard with my awesome Great Sable Stag in there.
All right, I've skillfully won the die roll.
Nice. That's always good. Quick question from the chat. Fated John, I did not change my deck list. I thought that I didn't want to change deck list based on my opponents because that's not interesting, right? I wanna show you how the matchup is, and I don't think it would be good if I just adapt my deck list to like beat Goblins. That wouldn't make any sense. So I'm just playing. This is the list that I top forward the last Legacy Challenge with last weekend. So it's the same one. Didn't change anything. That's not true. I changed 1 vines. I changed 1 card. So.
All right. I got an easy mulligan, just a 1 lander with a million.
My hand's pretty
spells.
good, so I'm gonna keep.
All right. It's a good 6. It's kind of a tough call here. I think I bottom this.
Let's see. Yikes! That's the most scary thing to see, really.
He's here.
Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, I have my own turn 1, so.
It's kind of funny. It's like both of us have this like turn 1/1/1 that's like very, very threatening to the other player.
Yeah, if this comes down turn 1, it's like yee.
Our best way to beat the opposing 1/1 is to play our
own 1/1,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
And I think we both have to block the opponent's 1/1, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, this interesting spot here. I actually I'm gonna do this.
Interesting. Okay.
So my daze here because. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't tell already, but you probably guessed right. I'm gonna daze here because
it means you don't have another land.
Yeah, exactly. I need to have this tropical island, and it can't get wasted because then I'm just I'm just dead. And I have to do this. It feels bad, but I just have to. Imagine if I don't block and we get Muxus, that's just game over. So I have to do this. And probably if I play Elf turn 1 and then you play Goblin Lackey and I attack, you probably block as well, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, so I'm just gonna play this one.
Good way to get around Wasteland.
Yep. So if you waste right now, you know, it's still an issue, but it's not game over anymore. Immediately, and it's possible that you don't. So we'll see. I have the matron. Okay.
I have a couple interesting options here. I think I'm gonna go for the Skirk Prospector.
Interesting. Skirk Prospector.
I think Script Prospector is secretly one of the best cards in this matchup.
Yeah, it's quite good. Sacrificing the goblin, it could mean a lot of things. Because you clearly want to sacrifice goblins. So either you want to make mana, or you want to have like Pashalik Mons and shoot everything that I have. That's the two things that I'm afraid of. It could also be Sling Gang. That's a possibility, but I don't think that's. No, that's probably not it. That would be my first guess. It's either going to be Pashalik Mons or probably just make enough mana for Muxus, maybe.
Those are both reasonable reads. So why is Script Prospector one of the best cards in the matchup? So like, it's the anti-Daze card that generates red mana. So like Daze becomes sacrifice your worst goblin, which is obviously pretty bad. And it makes it lets me effectively hold up removal, especially in post-war games at all times, because I'm always representing Jump Home Incinerator with just a Prospector and some goblins on board. And it also ramps me out to a Chain Whirler pretty quickly. And also the sack outlet for Pashalik, as Sam mentioned. So Prospector's great.
And Chain Whirler is definitely something that I'm very afraid of. Definitely. So I'm just going to slam in.
Land.
I don't have anything else going on. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so in with the Prospector probably. Let me know, guys, in chat if the volumes are correct, if you hear me just as loud as you hear Eli, because I can adapt this with just a couple of click of the buttons. So let me know, guys, if I have to change anything. See, slam in. Not going to block that one.
All right, so let me do a quick check here. You do not have main deck crop rotation, so
exactly.
I 100% cannot die. Which is a nice thing to be aware of. So I think I will play my Sling Gang here. I don't have to hold up my Wasteland.
Okay. That's an interesting draw. Think. I think I'm just gonna play it. I'm gonna play it like. I think I'm gonna fetch first. Kind of want to have one noble up. In case I need to. It's not very good in a matchup, I believe, but sometimes, you know, it's game one, so. Okay. And I actually think I'm gonna bounce Sling Gang because it costs 4. If I do bounce it, you get 2 extra goblins, so that's an issue. But I'm not sure. I could also bounce Ether Vial. Maybe that's better, honestly. I'm assuming Teferi will be dead next turn, but I don't really need it. It's not that good in the matchup. Yeah, I think bouncing Ether Vial is better.
Yeah, that seems correct to me.
And probably just pass. I could attack, but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
Are you drinking anything, Eli?
Just water for now. It's only 2 o'clock.
Oh yeah, sure, of course. For me, it's
not getting crazy.
For me, it's late, but for you, drinking at 2 o'clock is maybe just a bit pushing it.
Yeah.
So slam in. Let's see.
2 at you, 2 at Teferi.
So 2 to Teferi, 2 to me. So clearly, want Teferi to die. Makes sense. I don't think I want to fight over this. I'm just gonna say okay.
Yep.
Again, Teferi is not amazing. Port. I think I'm just gonna counter this. If it resolves, my counters are useless anyway, so counter magic is not what I want in this matchup. Okay. Aha! That's what I was looking for. So I'm just. It wasn't this one, but it's this one. So now the question is, 2 cards in hand. how many removal spells are in Eli's hand. Hey Johan, glad to have you here.
Okay. Two cards.
We've got an interesting question from Turn One Thoughtseize here, Eli. He asks, so imagine if I bounced Sling Gang with the Teferi, would you have considered sacrificing it to prevent me from drawing a card?
Probably not, because I have the Vial. Because it would just be coming down in 2 more turns.
Yeah.
But if I didn't think I was gonna have a way to get the Sling Gang conveniently into play again, I probably would. So I'm pausing my draw step here. I'm thinking about if I want to port you in your in my draw step to let you have less mana. Let me check what pump spells you can put up here. You've got Vines. You've got Invigorates. Become Immense you can cast, okay.
I also have Scale Up in the deck, but that's a sorcery, so...
Right. So I'm just wondering if it costs me anything to port here. It kind of does, but it's not that big a deal.
So Marduk, Chain Whirler is something that I'm not afraid of yet, because, I mean, that does require him to have triple red. It's possible, but now that Eli has ported, he would have to sacrifice 2 goblins, so it's unlikely. It's not, I mean, it's not impossible, but it's unlikely. But who knows? Maybe I'm just, maybe I just get obliterated here. It's possible.
Yeah, Chain Whirler's actually pretty castable. I probably should have attacked the Sling Gang too, actually.
I've seen a lot of players have started cutting the Chain Whirler from the Goblins deck.
It got better recently, speaking of.
Okay, there you go. So, okay. Let's invigorate agents. And, yeah. I can still win here. I just need one good top deck.
Now I have a question of, do I proactively wasteland you to reduce your... I think I do, so you can't kick Vines.
You're not looking at Nexus or anything?
I have a port for it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like if you've double invigorate, sure, but I think I wasteland drop here. And I'm gonna sack the Chain Whirler and play Lackey.
Okay. It's done its job.
Yeah.
So so which cards in my hand do I want to use here? Because if I use a certain card, that does mean that I'm not able to... doesn't really matter, honestly, because I really want to attack with Agent for sure. Doesn't matter what happens. And since Eli only has 1 card in his hand left, he can probably cast everything he has, except if it's like Muxus or another expensive goblin like Ringleader, Trashmaw, etc. But you can just draw land, then, or you can also sack goblins. So I think I just don't want to think about this too much. I mean, it's a race, and I don't think I'm in the advantage. And it's possible that who knows, maybe you just don't have a goblin left. Unlikely, but I think I just have to try and push in as much infect damage as possible here. And yeah, if I draw another pump spell next turn, I could just win next turn. Yep. So I think this is what I should do in this spot. Beeps, thanks for the follow. Cheers. Okay, so let's see what Goblin Lackey has. Please no Muxus. Yikes.
Here.
Yikes. That's scary. That's scary.
I think you're dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Yikes. Okay, I had the vines. But, I wasn't able to cast it anyway because I needed triple green.
Right.
That was scary. Yeah, the chain whirler. That really was. That was horrible.
Yeah, the chamber was why I mentioned first Skirk.
Uh-huh.
Because I didn't have triple red at the time.
Okay. I don't like playing around
game
one of. Sorry.
Are we doing game ones again, or? Are we
Oh, I just sideboard. If I think we just sideboard and then we swap around. If you want, we can also just play game one first.
No, we can sideboard.
Okay.
So I'm boarding in 2 Pyrokinesis, Tarfire, and 3 Red Elemental Blast effects.
No Blood Moons?
No, because I like that. Blood Moon's like the most counterable thing in existence, you know.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I like being a little leaner, especially on the draw. And I don't want to take a turn off from like putting stuff on the board.
That makes sense. I also because I know that a lot of players bring in the Blood Moon against Infect, so that's why. My sideboarding is fairly. Oh, are you done or not yet?
Well, I just want to say, I don't know how Conspicuous Snoop will perform in this matchup. I feel like it's not great because it doesn't race as well as Pile Driver. It doesn't ramp like War Marshal does, and it's not removal, but it can dig me towards removal to some extent. I'm probably going to side 1 Snoop out. We'll see how 1 does. And then I shave like a Muxus, a Sling Gang, just like top end stuff. And I think I'll shave. I'm not sure War Chief versus Pile Driver. I think I'm on the draw, so I'll shave the War Chief just because it's a little more expensive.
Yeah, that makes sense. My sideboard is fairly easy. I actually have more cards I want to take out than bring in. So I bring in swords, that's a no-brainer. And then I have artifact removal in case you have Ether Vial. That's one of the most scary cards in the matchup. And then, so what I do is I just trim counter magic. I really hate it in this matchup because you have Vials and you also have Cavern of Souls, so very often it will just do nothing. And I keep in some. If I'm on the play, I keep Daze. If I'm on the draw, I keep Force Will. And then one card I'm not entirely sure about, which is why I put it on alongside it, and I already see questions in the chat. So I do bring in 1 Grafdigger's Cage. It's not excellent, but why do I bring it in? Again, I don't like counter magic all that much, and it's something that I'm fine with having 1 of. And I still have another Force left, so it's not like I have nothing here going on. But again, I really don't like counter magic here in the matchup.
I personally think you might be underrating the counter magic. Because I'm boarding in non-creature spells that you care about. And Cage hits literally 2 cards in my deck. It hits the 1 Snoop I'm down to, and it hits the 1 Muxus. And it can also get killed incidentally with Trash Master. So I think Cage is actually pretty weak. It's better like maybe if you're playing against like Turbo Muxus, you might want a Cage to stop their really explosive starts, because they're much more of like a combo. Like Turbo Muxus is like Stompy Infect.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
So I think I could see Cage there a little bit more. But I don't think you want it compared to like I think even like a Spell Pierce is better than Cage.
Okay, yeah. Again, I'm not sold on Cage or anything, but I usually do bring it in. But that's usually because I mean your list only plays 2, but I'm gonna be honest. I haven't played against Goblins lately all that often, and by not all that often I mean 0 times since the bannings. So I'm not very sure what the main Goblins play right now, but in the past they played 4 Muxus, and then I had a lot of situations where Cage was fine.
Well, I think you can identify 4 Muxus builds versus non-4 Muxus builds by the Turbo Muxus is mono red, plays City of Traders and Ancient Tomb, and also plays Chromox and doesn't play Vial. But the Vial Goblins lists, very few play 4 Muxus because it's so easy for them to get stuck in your hand if you're not playing as much ramp.
That's good to know.
The Bog Boys. People are talking about Bog Boys.
The Bog Boys.
Oh my god.
Nice.
That was
that was a fun game.
That was hilarious.
It was hilarious, even for me as well. I had zero idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah. I was very proud. I was playing with Callum, and we were like, okay, we're 100% dead here. What can we take with this Earwig squad to sell that we have something?
And I was playing around all these things, right? I was playing like...
We're going to sell that we have Fatal Push, take 3 days, and it worked for a turn. I felt like such a huge brain.
That really was insane, because I think... I wasn't I streaming at the time as well? And I think I mentioned, I'm so afraid of Fatal Push here.
Yep.
So that was next level magic. Yeah, I think you're definitely correct about the 4 muxes, by the way. It's clear that my experience against goblins isn't that high anymore, if this is correct what I'm saying. But you're probably right. I'm fine with playing the cage right now, because maybe we'll see how bad it is, and then I'm 100% sure that I'm not going to bring it in anymore. That's fine. So I'm going to play first. Let's see what we have. Yep. This is one of those hands that's... It's not bad enough to mulligan, but I think that's about everything that I can say about it. It can become very good, you know. It has brainstorm, so I'm going to keep.
I think I'm good on mulligan. My hand's just like a little too slow on the draw versus a creature combo deck. No 1-drops, no caverns, no removal. I got double matron and all red sources, so like that theoretically is okay, but that's just gonna be too slow. Yeah. All right, this is decent. I'll keep and bottom. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna play this drop and pass.
Okay. Play my good friend Skirk Prospector.
Okay, resolves. Just gonna play Nexus and pass. Okay, sure.
Not the draw you wanted.
Yeah, exactly. Question is, are you gonna? Okay, yeah.
And then this is a question. I think I'm at the stage of the game where I just don't port at all, and then if you activate your Nexus, I'll port it in response.
That makes sense. And since I know that you can port my Nexus, I don't really have any intention of attacking right now, since I don't have like lethal plus. Yeah, I can't even. If I had vines, I wouldn't be able to use it. So I'm just gonna see what's coming. I'm gonna brainstorm. This is an interesting one that I drew here.
That's a very tempting brainstorm to blast, I think.
Okay. So what I always try to, and I think this is a good tip for anyone. So what does this tell me? I really can't brainstorm here. It's possible that you just, maybe I don't know. I mean, blasting brainstorm is always good, probably. So maybe I shouldn't look too much. Shouldn't dig too deep.
The read on that is that I have ways to use my mana, and I'm not foreseeing really comfortably holding up Red Blast.
Of course, but what this does mean is also, for me, and this is what I was thinking, is you clearly assume that you will not die here. So imagine if I had like the nuts, I could just go for it, but don't worry, I don't have it. But yeah, I definitely want to slam in for at least one, I think. I'm just going to play another Nexus and just gonna slam in for one. I like this situation because you always have to think about what you're going to do with your mana, because at a certain point you will have to make a decision about probably playing a goblin and not being able to port, or keeping up with the port, which is I think this could be a difficult decision at a certain point.
Yeah, I have a pretty close call here. I I'm going to play a lackey.
Okay. So no land drop is important for me. Of course, you can always use board by sacrificing the prospector.
Yeah, I can always port off of the Skirk.
Right, let's see if you want to sacrifice a goblin to red blast this. If you could, unlikely probably, but
nah.
Okay, so I have these two, which are clearly not very good right now. Think I want to definitely get rid of this, and then probably this one. There you go, and I think I'm just going to fetch and get rid of that one straight away.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was hoping to not see, but...
So a good thing to know is, you saw that Eli added 1 red. I can actually go to combat first, and then I can animate Nexus. Something that I see a lot of newer players forget. Because this makes Eli having to use port right now, or not at all.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well. There's no reason not to.
Then I can respond by just adding colorless, and then animate this one. And I just slam in for 1. Johan asks, there's an argument for hitting Skirk and block Lackey with Nexus, given he's mana screwed. I mean, it's possible, but what if he plays Wasteland? That really comes back to haunt me.
You can never really block Lackey with the port in play.
So I think that would be way too much of a risk. Because there's so many ways that could blow up in my face that I don't want to risk doing that.
All right, so I can port plus waste, but I think getting the Crater Maker on board's a little bit better.
So I know destroy target colorless non-land is not going to happen, at least not right now. So it's going to be 2 damage. So that means if I have pump spells, I can just try and ignore that Crater Maker. Let's see what we find with Brainstorm. Probably these two. Kind of like these because I have these two. So I'm just gonna fetch. And now the question is, do I even want to attack? Because if I just animate Nexus, you can use Wasteland and Crater Maker if you want to.
Yep.
Do you think I want to attack with 1? Because I can protect that one if I want to, easier than if I animate both. Yeah, let's attack first. Let's see what Eli decides to do. Probably does not fight me in combat.
Yeah, that's a good way to die.
But yeah, exactly. It happens with newer players, but I'm not going to be able to catch Eli off guard here. Okay, I'm going to slam in for 1. Do nothing. 3 poison. Let's see if we have some end step action.
I don't think so.
So just take 3.
Reasonably content just passing here. Interesting situation here for me. Yeah, we're both kind of in the spot where like I probably have removal and you probably have pump spells.
Yeah, exactly. The question
both,
is,
like dealing each other a little bit of damage.
Since you're not playing any goblins, I mean, that's a huge signal. Think that I'm just going to animate 1 Nexus.
So the only thing that beats Wasteland is Divines, unless I'm missing something. Yeah. So 4 cards. I think few vines, or activate again, vines. Alright, I'm gonna port.
I'm just gonna say okay.
Okay. Alright, I'll just take my time walk there.
And this is a play that I love making. I'm just gonna berserk this one.
Okay.
I don't need berserk here.
Mm-hmm.
So getting rid of a way to get my creatures killed is always interesting. It's a bit risky because I do take 4, but I mean it dies. So
Get to convert the crater into a vial at least.
Exactly. I'm not gonna fight with an ether vial. Right, so let's animate 1 Nexus. Since Eli ported last time, I want to see what happens now.
This is interesting.
This is a very interesting game so far. I'm having a lot of fun.
You didn't port the, or since you didn't tap the Nexus to activate Nexus, porting is a little bit lower value.
Don't worry, Marduk. Eli can read whatever you are, what you guys are saying.
Don't talk to me about Goblin Settler.
Okay, so if I use pump spells now, if I had any, that would be silly because you can just port. So I definitely have to attack first. At least I'm going to go to begin combat and then see what happens. That is allowed. Let's see if I can go to the attack phase.
4 cards. Okay.
So let's attack. See what happens. Nothing. Okay. No response by me.
Alright. We're gonna get a pump spell out of you.
This being cycling sucks.
This is a good instance where, so Jump Home versus Expert is like a kind of a point of contention within the Goblins deck community when we're deck building of how many Jump Homes versus how many Experts, and this is one of the considerations of Expert is that it's better around counter magic, and also just Expert would be uncastable here unless I was gonna sack my Skirk, which would suck.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you have a split, right?
Yeah, I have 2/2 split. Yep.
Okay, nice. And what do most people do who don't agree with this?
We were doing 3-1 favoring Expert for a long time, but I think I've discovered that since the banning of Arcanist, the extra damage on Expert is less important than drawing a card in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Because creatures are small. Like, it's much better to Jump Palm a Baleful Strix than to Expert it. You get what I mean? Because a Jump Palm and Baleful Strix is essentially an equal trade, whereas Experting it is like you're trading a card for a 1/1.
That does make sense. I think I'm actually just gonna let this one die.
Okay. Okay.
Combination of Wasteland plus Port and me having double Nexus is definitely dangerous for me.
I have half a mind to wasteland your Nexus right here. Because if you go activate Vines, that's still not that good for me.
Johan in the chat, by the way, is the person who brought me into Legacy, and he's the one who borrowed me his Goblins deck. And he just said maybe you should tell him the story about the tournament. By the way, Johan, it was my first tournament. It wasn't the second one. The second one was on Affinity. Okay, so I'm not gonna do anything in response here. Okay, I need a good draw step.
All right, you are at 6, so
Uh-oh.
All right. Penhaven's pretty good.
Penhaven is good indeed. Yeah, let's just animate. See what happens. Okay.
Okay.
I swear to God, I'm gonna die because of this Skirk Prospector.
Yeah, this 1/1 Skirk.
Yeah, exactly. It's killing me. This is the most awful death ever. Hello, that's what I wanted to see. Finally, a threat, which is not a land. Still think I want to animate Nexus. Let's see what happens. At least I can block Prospector now and use Penhaven if I want to. But I probably want to keep Penhaven to... If you attack, I mean... it's unlikely that you still attack with Prospector, but if you do... We'll see.
Okay. This seems like a good time to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have to use this one now. The way you divide your damage is definitely something that I should be worried about, because I can save Nexus for sure by using Penhaven. But I mean, that probably means you... Well, you do have Wasteland anyway, so...
Yeah, I value the Nexus a little less, considering I've got the Wasteland already.
And I should... So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to Vines Elf, and I'm going to let Nexus die, because, I mean, again, Port plus Wasteland, I have no way to protect this Nexus afterwards. And I think I want to keep Penhaven here in case you have another Gem Palm, Incinerator, or even Munitions Expert. Penhaven could save Elf here. Okay, so glad I kept the Penhaven.
Okay. Let's wasteland that Penhaven.
That blows. That's in response. Use this and see if you use Crater Maker.
I should have attacked first. That was actually a mistake. Okay. So I do 3 cards.
I was just checking if Goblin Crater Maker can shoot to the face, but it's only creature, so...
It's only creatures,
yeah.
Yes.
So, So that means Either you want me to lose 1 life, or you just don't want me to have mana right now. So imagine you have Sling Gang here, but you can't cast that one, so I don't have to play around that. Sling Gang's 4, right? Correct. Mana cost? Okay. If you use Ether Vial in response to me fetching, does this change anything for me? Probably not. Yeah, I'm just gonna fetch. Let's see what happens.
Okay. I actually messed this up a little bit. I should have played my land first, but... So... Yeah, I actually dislike how I played this now, but...
Did you expect me not to fetch, or...?
I should just not playing my land first.
Yeah, okay.
Kinda, yep. I should have... First of all, I just should have attacked first, but...
Drop.
Okay, the fact that you didn't save your elf there is really good for me.
Skirk Prospector beats. So I need to find a threat. Okay, hello. That's not a bad top deck. I'd rather have Blighted Agent though, but I mean, guess I can't complain. Uh-oh. That's probably game over.
Yeah, just grab the sling.
Yep.
So my last card's Red Blast. I should have I should have played the Wasteland first in case if you had like a way to protect the elf. I should have played the Wasteland first, and then I would cracked Crater Maker, and if you protect, then I can matron for removal, and not have to sacrifice a goblin as a red source.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been even better. Although it didn't matter in this spot, but you're definitely right.
What was your hand at the end there?
It was very bad, honestly. I had double days and I had Scale Up. So Scale Up was good, but it was a sorcery, so it really had nothing.
Yeah.
And so I said I don't like counter magic in the matchup all that much.
Yeah, the dazes fell off eventually. But I mean, I think a big part of that was the fact that I had the Skirk in play the whole game.
Yeah, that's true.
Skirk renders days pretty useless.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we can talk about a better matchup in general, and then we can play a few more games. Maybe let's go back to the past and how we feel about the matchup has been historically and how it is right now. Do you want to start, or should I start? What do you say?
I can start, I guess.
Okay.
I will say that in the past, Goblins felt unfavored versus Infect because the removal back like in the Deathrite era, it was harder because our removal suite was spells. You know, it was like 3 to 4 Tarfires. And then like I often played main deck Pyrokinesis, which was obviously very, very good against Infect. But you really had to find them because Tarfire was pretty mediocre and Gem Palm can be too slow. And we also didn't have Crater Maker yet. So Goblins is like way more removal dense than it used to be. Before, it used to be in the matchup, it was kind of similar to Elves in that you would try not to die, on turn 2, and then you would hope to either slam a War Chief on turn 3 and untap with it, and then go matron for Sharpshooter and win from there. So you had to like turn the corner on the Sharpshooter, but that's a little more disruptible. And now, and Inklemoth was also a lot scarier back then because it was just Wastelands, and we generally ran fewer ports because Deathrite was so good against port. But now I think I think it's a lot better for goblins than it was, and I think we're a little favored now, because the density removal is much higher. Munitions Expert is much better against Glistener Elf in particular, because before, to jump home a turn 1 Glistener Elf, you know, you have to have you have to be on the play and have a 1-drop goblin that doesn't get countered. Whereas Expert, you can just go like, you know, play turn 1 anything or nothing, and then turn 2 Cavern Expert, and then they both need to protect the Glistener Elf with a pump spell, and then I still have a blocker so they need yet another pump spell and like trample to get through it. So Expert's really, really good in the early turns. Chain Whirler's obviously insane in the matchup. Crater Maker is nice. Like Static, I noticed this when I was playing Mog Fanatic in like 2018. Static creatures that have just activated damage abilities are so much better than like damage spells against Infect, because they sit on the table. Once they're in play, they ignore counter magic, and you can use them whenever you want. Whereas spells require you to like hold up mana all the time, and you get like tempoed out kind of. Whereas your creatures can keep attacking. Trashmaster's really, really good insurance against Inkmon Nexus. And then Muxus let us race. Like Termalaki is now like so extremely threatening for Infect, whereas before it was still threatening because it could, you know, put war chiefs and stuff that would set up a kill, but it was less immediately threatening. You know, it gave them a turn or two. So that's my evaluation.
I almost 100% agree with you there. That's the perfect summary. In the past, if I saw goblins, I was like, okay, sweet, good matchup, because a couple of years ago, goblins didn't have that good removal, and if there's the only real weakness of Infect is probably removal. And in the past, it was a race, but the thing is, Infect had better interaction than goblins had, but this has changed. Now, because again, you already mentioned the cards, but Munitions Expert is excellent. Chain Whirler is so difficult for us to deal with. And
Pawns is faster than Sharpshooter is another big thing. It's like you can play a Pashalik and not have to untap with it and still get pings off if you have a sack outlet. And I think that's really, really strong.
For sure, 100% correct. And I agree, I think in the past Infect was very favored. I think before all the removal goblins got printed, it was like 70-30 for Infect. I loved the matchup, it was so easy. But as the years passed, I saw that goblins got more removal and it became more difficult. It doesn't feel like goblins is favored for me personally, but I don't think that Infect is favored. I'd say it's 50-50, but it highly depends on, well, how much pump spells I have. The good thing is, of course, the removal is still red and it shoots, so that means that my Invigorates are also protection spells, which is red removal is what Infect likes to see most, because it's the thing that we are best at dealing with. But it's definitely a matchup that has changed a lot as years have gone by, and I think maybe there's a reason why I have to adapt my sideboarding a bit, because I do think that forces are probably going to be better moving forward. But again, I don't see goblins all that often anymore, so I don't get to train against it a lot. So yeah, maybe this is true. I should value my counter magic higher than I did in the past.
I mean, I think force is scary, right? Because I'm boarding in 3 red blasts, so you could get yourself blown out. Like. It's going to be kind of swingy, where, you know, if I have Pyrokinesis, kill 2 things, and you force a will for that, then that's amazing. But if I have a blast for your force, then it swings all the way back in my favor, right?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I still value artifact removal too highly. Which is something that was very good in the past, but I'm not sure. Yeah. What do you think?
It depends on the Goblins player's build, because some Goblins players will have chalices in their sideboard that they'll bring in against you.
Then I need it.
Some players will have like Thorn of Amethyst effects or spheres. Some like Pithing Needle, I'd board in versus you for the Nexus, so I can start attacking your actual mana sources instead of having to go after the colorless lands. So it'll be contextual how much artifact removal you want. Like some builds, you know, and if people are boarding in Blood Moon against you, then you might want to go as far as Force of Vigor, which can be a huge a huge blowout card, but it could also do nothing. So
exactly.
it's,
And last
very
game I
similar.
had Force of Vigor in my hand, and I also had the what's the name, Return to Nature, and they just didn't do anything. So I brainstormed them away. So whoopsie. Just my antivirus popping up here. Yeah, I think this is. I think it's correct. Maybe I should. Next game I'm going to sideboard differently because I think that I'm over. The matchup has changed, and I think that where in the past Ether Vial was essential in the matchup, that's probably no longer the case because if you rely on Ether Vial, you're usually a bit slower. And maybe I'm still going to board in some artifact removal, but maybe not all of them. Maybe Force of Vigor isn't worth it anymore.
Yeah, against me specifically, I literally only have four artifacts in my deck. So
exactly. Okay, what do you think? Play another game?
yeah, sure.
Nice. If there are any questions in the chat about the matchup or questions for me or Eli, let us know because we're always happy to answer them.
Did I keep in Trashman for Nexus? I did. Trashmaster is insane against Nexus because it's just like, sack a goblin, destroy it, burns like vines like crazy. You know, he needs multiple vines. Trashman's very good. Also, just helps you close the game out pretty quickly.
So you started last time, right? Or did I start?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put you on the play if I win the die roll.
Luckily, I win the die roll. Let's see what we have. That's fine. I'm gonna keep.
I think I would qualify my hand as exactly fine, so I will also keep.
Nice. What is good against goblins is that if I have the complete nuts, I don't think there's any way how I can lose. And that's the case. Like, turn 1 elf, Daze Backup, Invigorate Berserk, and I'm on the play. I think I just... Is there any way how I can lose if I have that one on the play?
Cavern Lackey to block.
Okay,
I can go to 9.
Okay.
That's about it, yeah.
Yeah, so there is a way. Yeah. Alex, don't you still miss Wasteland? I do not miss Wasteland at all. I don't think the meta has changed, and I don't think Wasteland is a card that Infect wants anymore. Keep in mind that my build that I had in the challenge also didn't have Wasteland, and I don't know. I don't miss it.
So you missed a land drop. Okay.
Did, unfortunately.
I'm gonna main phase this.
I have triple days in my hand. So this is literally... That Cavern of Souls was just...
Cavern OP.
That was disgusting. So again, you can see why I don't really like... I don't like counter magic.
Daze is like one of the swingiest cards ever versus goblins, because sometimes against like Delver, I'm just like, oh my god, please do not have Daze. But it is a little different because they have Wastelands for caverns, which can create very, very different situations.
I wish I could show you my hand. Honestly, this is... This is ridiculous.
So, I don't have anything scary going on, so I'm going to take this opportunity to be proactive and jam this War Chief.
Let's fetch. Oh, that's a good one. Not going to complain about that. Kind of exactly what I needed. So now the question is, do you have more removal?
Okay. So how do I want to sequence this? I think play this.
Chain Whirler. Okay, it resolves. Doesn't kill agent, so that's probably whatever happens here. That's going to be my game.
Oh, I just overtapped by accident. That's supposed to be an uncounterable Crater Maker.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna pretend like it's uncounterable.
Yeah. The thing is, it's kind of annoying with Cavern Souls. If you overtap with a War Chief in play, it doesn't use the Cavern mana first. It uses the regular mana first.
Okay, I didn't know that.
You can't undo it.
Okay.
So it's actually really awkward because now this mana
is floating around there into nothingness.
It's like impossible to use.
Yeah, but you have Sky Protector, so if you really needed the mana, it wouldn't be an issue here, right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah. Well, I guess I do this now.
I'm just gonna... I can daze this one, so... I want to see if you want to make... if you want to use... Oh, exactly. Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, geez, yeah. Because I said I'm gonna pretend like Goblin Crater Maker was was used with a cavern.
I mean,
okay.
All right, it's awkward because if the Crater Maker resolved, I just wouldn't have played the Snoop. Okay, yeah. All right, I'll just
Let's pretend like Snoop was.
I'll sack the Snoop and just it's gone.
Lucky. Okay.
Right,
Does that work with Snoop, or is it only activated abilities?
It's only activated.
Okay.
Abilities.
Okay.
Alright, so we'll just waste that mana on purpose.
Okay. So we fixed the situation. The judge is happy. 2, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. I really need agent here, so.
And I think I do this right now.
Mm-hmm. I need agent, so I'm gonna save it. Right, let's get him. See if you have more removal. Okay, I think
there's actually not a removal spell I can cast here, so I'm dead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't play. I thought about pyrokinesis, but yeah, you didn't play it in the main.
One. Yeah. Right. I did have the race going next turn. I think playing the War Chief instead of Snoop maybe cost me, because Snoop could have gotten me closer to more removal, but it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, that's true. Johan, I did not have lethal with Noble because keep in mind that Invigorate lets your opponent gain life, so I was off. Invigorate says your opponent gains 3 life, so I was 1 pump spell short of having regular damage lethal. Right, let's go to sideboarding.
Yep, I'm going to sideboard the same way. Cut a Snoop, trim 2 Ringleaders and a Muxus just because they're expensive, and then shave 1 War Chief. I think Pile Driver, while not incredible in matchup, is a racing element, and it's also just 2 mana instead of 3.
So I'm going to try and sideboard differently. I definitely hate Teferi in the matchup. That's not good.
Yeah, I think Teferi is quite bad.
Exactly. So this goes for sure. And then I always sideboard differently depending on if I play on the draw. I think that Spell Pierce is probably the worst counter spell here. So I think that's the first one to go. But what do you think?
Spell Pierce makes sense. You know, I've got, let's see, 10 targets for Pierce in my deck, but it's going to be hard to pierce a Pyrokinesis most of the time, and
especially on the draw, I can't hit Ether Vial, so I think Spell Pierce is bad. So that one has to go
don't
to.
Want to be one of them.
So I definitely bring in 3 swords and 1 Return to Nature. I think this is an auto include, and then in the past or last game I did bring in Force of Vigors. I'm on the draw, so then Vial is a bit more scary, so maybe I should bring in 1 Force of Vigor and then cut 1 Daze, since I'm on the draw. I think I'm happy with that. Then I have 4 Forces, reasonable. 3 Dazes. I think that's fine. Yeah. Okay, let's see if that works.
My hand's kind of funny.
Is it insane? Am I dead?
It's not insane. It's just like
it's very good. It's just so good. You're gonna die very quickly. My hand is very. It's good, but it's weak to one thing. But I'm gonna keep.
Is that one thing turn 1 Goblin Lackey?
Luckily not.
Okay.
Okay, so we both have the best 1-drop in our deck. Again, if you just attack, I always block here. If you have removal, would you use it on Elf to get through with Lackey, or would that not be worth it?
Depends on whether or not I have something really good to put into play with Lackey.
So you wouldn't just always do this?
Yep.
Okay. Again, I'm going to block. Always do this. If they have the Muxus and they get to bring it in play, no, that's...
Now, conversely, would you ever pump the Glycerin Elf to
block the Lackey?
To block the Lackey and then keep the Glycerin Elf alive?
If I had, like, 2 more pump spells in my hand and I win on the return, then yes. Otherwise, probably not. Although, maybe if Elf was the only threat I had, then maybe? But yeah, I guess it all depends.
I like somewhat tempted to wasteland you actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad if you have a plow, but this also keeps you from. If you had a plow, you would have plowed Lackey instead of trading it with the Glistener Elf.
Mm-hmm.
I am gonna do this.
Okay. Yeah, so that was the one thing that I my hand was weak to. So I think, yeah, depending on how good the Lackey is, I probably lose. We'll see. Okay, no Muxus yet.
I think I grab Muxus here. I could get Trash Master, but yeah, we're gonna high roll it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm afraid. Luckily I have another Nexus, so I just have to block Lackey if you attack with it. I don't want to, but I just have to.
Alright, so my best draw here is like a Wasteland or a Port.
Mm-hmm. Luckily for me.
Sadly, not.
So, said it before, I have to block Lackey. I mean, I know there's Muxus in hand, so. But removal, yeah, that seals the deal probably. Okay, let's yield. Who knows, if I'm like super lucky and your Muxus is bad.
Yeah, if I just Stone Cold Whiff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll fetch beforehand to thin. That's pretty good, actually. Because we're gonna get Pashalik. And then we're gonna...
This is painful. This is painful.
Skirk Prospector doing work.
So technically I'm not dead. Yeah, okay, now yeah. I'm just gonna concede. This this game's over for me. Yeah, I'm just dead next turn. My hand was pretty good though. I'm gonna show it to you. I actually had lethal in hand. So he was a hand. So Invigorate, Become Immense. Another elf did have the swords. I found that one. Double Brainstorm. So yeah, I knew I was weak to Wasteland, but I don't want to mulligan away against a potential Wasteland from your side. I don't think that's a strategy where you play to not lose, and I try to play to win, if that makes sense.
I agree.
So easy sideboarding here. Swap Force for a daze because I'm on the play, and that's it.
I don't think I changed anything play draw, honestly. I think everything's just kind of the same.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I should have boarded out the Force of Vigor. Swap for a Force Will since I'm on the play.
Yeah, that might be better.
Mm-hmm. This is okay. I'm going to keep.
Hand's interesting. Really good against one of your threats, and then bad against others.
Okay, I want to shout out to everyone in stream. Glad to have you all here. If you are enjoying this content, guys, if you haven't done so, smash that follow button. You'll get notified whenever I go online. And if you want to help me out even more, you can consider subscribing. But of course, no obligations whatsoever. And if you have any questions for me or Eli, spam them in the chat. Eli can read the chat as well, so I don't have to read everything. Let's see, Skirk Prospector. It feels to me like you play 8 of them in your deck.
We used to play only one, but Muxus made it a lot better.
It's just so good. Storm Thief, thanks for the follow, man. Cheers. So I'm just gonna play my threat.
Yep. Let's attack first.
Definitely not blocking. I don't know, Johan. Honestly, I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but recently it feels like whatever I play, people play when they play Infect. So I'm not sure. I love white. So I tried going back to blue-green, but I felt like in recent years it feels like with the power creep has all been situated on creatures, and I have been missing swords so much that I feel like Bant is necessary, and I'm afraid it. Well, I'm not afraid of it, but I think that's probably the way to go forward in the future. So I think that if you want to play Infect, I think Bant is the way to go, honestly. Wow, okay, this is a pretty good brainstorm. just lacks one card, but I mean I can't complain. So that's not. So put these back. Get rid of them. And okay, so this is an interesting situation because I have 3 things I can play here, and now the question is, which one do you place first? And I actually think there's only one pump spell you can play here. Why? Because you have to play around only one spell, and this is Pyrokinesis. Pyrokinesis deals 4 damage. So if I play this one, that means that Pyrokinesis is still live, and I've used my green. So I think the only correct pump spell to play here is either this one or this one, but I think this one is better. So I'm going to start with that.
Sure.
So that means that Pyrokinesis is no longer an option. So,
I do have REB up.
That's true, but I mean, if you have that one, I think this is a situation where I just want to go make him have it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when you're playing Infect. Sometimes, yeah, you have to accept this. I can wait until I find vines, but I don't have any way to dig, so you have to risk it sometimes. I think I can play either of these now, but if you do have Red Elemental Blast, then I want to have this pump spell over the other one. And keep in mind that, I'm just going to name it. Scale Up says the base power becomes 6/4, so the +1 +4/+4 ability still works. So I'm just going to scale up here. And let's see if you have it.
Nope, you got me. My hand was very, very good against an Inkmoth Nexus with Wasteland Port and a Trash Master in hand, but I didn't keep a hand with. I don't know. My hand is arguably a mulligan because it didn't have an answer to actual creature threats. Like I could block a. I had 2 blockers for Elf.
Yeah.
So maybe, but Tarfire on top. Sad.
We did see that the last game you really crushed me, and I think this is a game where I showed how the power of my pump spells, where they can just be, especially this last one. I had in my hand, I had Invigorate, Scale Up, and Become Immense, and I was discussing this, and it's interesting because sometimes you have to value which pump spells you play. And if I had used Scale Up there, Scale Up says it becomes a 6/4, which means if I then go for it by Invigorating after you have Pyrokinesis, then it still dies. So I have to use Invigorate there, and then I become Immense, or the other way around. So yeah, that was an interesting spot. Let's see if we have questions from the chat. Not straight away, so what do you think? Play another one?
Yeah, sure.
Nice. So let's see. Click the correct deck. It's funny because every single time that I had counter magic in my hand, it has been usually pretty bad still. But so has Force of Figures been. So it's
right.
I think you're probably right that counter magic is less bad than the artifact removal spells. Again, this is one of those hands that I'm gonna keep, but it's like I'm not thrilled here to keep this. It still gets a mulligan, but it's not exciting or anything. So
my hand's pretty insane.
Okay, that's not what I. That's not what I like to hear.
Good bottom. This. Why the shift Snoop? Well, Goblin's player got 9th in the showcase with the Snoop combo list, which is obviously pretty cool.
Snoop combo list, like with
with the Bugger Harbinger and Kiki Jiki combo.
Oh, that's hilarious. Would you consider this?
And I've tried it in the past, and I thought it was really bad. But I think the bans made Snoop a lot better as a value card because it's not being elked and it's not being bolted a million times. Okay, I'm actually going to use the expert here.
Yeah, it's uncounterable, so. And I guess since your hand was great, it probably means that Maxus comes down.
Yep.
Scary.
Yeah, Cavern. I mean, this is my equivalent. This is my nut draw equivalent to
Yeah,
yours,
exactly. Oh, and Mons too. Jesus.
right? Yeah.
I can. Is there is there even a way how I can win?
I don't think so. You take what? 1, 2, 3.
I don't think there's a way I can
14
win.
next turn.
I literally think there's no way how I can win.
Yeah. I also have a Chain Whirler in hand.
That's disgusting.
I mean, I can't
you know what?
cast
Let's
it, but
just play it out. Let's just. I'm gonna try.
If you gotta block the lackey to not die.
I'm gonna pretend like I didn't hear that. I'm just going to valiantly throw my Bladder Agent in there. And of course, I'm not gonna block because I need it for the victory next turn. And now I lose. I could have still won if I had Invigorate in hand and then another Invigorate plus Berserk. But I mean,
that's true. Yes.
That would have been my nuts. So very, very dead here very quickly.
Yeah, that's about as good as. I mean, the only way that would be better would be if the Muxus hit a sack outlet too, along with the Pashlik. Then it's just like full lockout.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, this is pretty insane.
All right, so say sideboarding here. I'm on the play now. So out with Teferi, the Pierce, in with the Swords. Swords probably the best card here.
Yep.
And then 1 return, 1 force. Also bigger. Actually, I'm going to try it out. I'm going to not play Force of Vigor. I'm going to rely on Force of Will, but honestly, every single time I had Counter Magic in my hand, it's still been bad.
I'm just very good at drawing Cavern Souls.
Yeah, exactly. But you play 12, right? So.
So sacrificing Mogg War Marshal numbers on the list seems risky, but if it works, it works. Yeah, Mogg War Marshal got less important with the banning of Arcanist because your experts don't, and like your removal spells don't need to have as big numbers. There's a lot of Plague Engineers in the format, so you like can't rely on War Marshals to generate value for you as much. Arcan, I have 2 Snoops without the combo in my list right now, and I've been really happy with them. They've drawn a lot of cards.
Oh, by the way, Arkan, thanks for the host. I didn't even see until now, so cheers, man. Yeah, my hand's okay. I'm gonna keep.
My hand's a little awkward for like mana reasons, but it's got a lot of good spells.
Don't worry, I'm not playing Wasteland. Let's play my elf here. Best elf in Legacy, as I always say. Another cavern. What is this?
Arkan, if you check my Twitter, you can my latest list is on there.
You know what? This is not bad, you know. I wonder if you would block. The question now is, do I want to even use this Pendelhaven? Because so if I use Pendelhaven, that means I can't protect my elf next turn from like a random what's the name of the
expert is probably the.
Exactly, that's the one. And I think I want to have protection. So I'm just going to attack with Elf. If I have double Invigorate in hand, doesn't matter if I use Pendelhaven or not anyway, so let's just slam in. Thinking that long at the end of the turn usually signals pyrokinesis. But it's interesting to note because I tell this way when how you can get information at every single point of the game, and I think that's more of an advanced thing in Legacy. Maybe you can agree, but when you can get information about every single thing your opponent does, and that's what I tell newer players or even advanced players. You can get information out of everything. Like, I know what you can play at a certain point, and in this situation, I believe it was only the pyrokinesis, and if you wait at the end of the turn, what does that tell me? Well, pyrokinesis probably. So, well, that's my read. Maybe I'm still wrong. Maybe we're just thinking about something else. But I have to think from out of my mindset. It could also be like Tarfire, sacrificing the Skirk perspective, but that's not an issue because
that would be
Pendlehaven,
bad because then you just punt Pendlehaven it.
Exactly. Again, I'm not sure if this was correct, but
I have a really interesting situation here.
Mm-hmm.
I think play this.
Uh-oh.
And then I should have done my thing pre-combat actually, but
is there a reason not to attack here?
I might want to block if.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, for sure, of course.
And then it's tough. See, 4 cards in hand.
Yep.
It's just like kind of painful, but I'm gonna pitch a Goblin Matron.
Okay, so this
had
was
the correct read.
This was indeed the correct read. So I really want to have this, but I could use this or this. So what do I do? I mean, I really think I need this in order to win the game. So probably.
So obviously I should have done this pre-combat, so if I know if your elf dies, I can freely attack. But
yeah, that makes sense.
If I lose by 1 point of damage, I lose by 1 point of damage.
I'm just going to. Although if I use this one, these two both survive, of course, which is something that I want. Although, do I need? No, never mind. Let's just use this. Okay. So target elf probably indeed. Do I want to? No. Okay, I'm just gonna yield.
So painful to pitch a Goblin Matron, but
that's for sure. So I started to play this because yeah, sure. If you had Pyrokinesis plus Munitions Expert, that's painful, but again, I don't like playing around the worst case scenario. Okay. So this is bad. Let's put him like this. There you go. And play another noble and yield. Wasteland. Wasteland. Okay.
I'm doing my best Delver deck impression.
Yeah, it's turning out pretty well, you know. I think I do want to draw the card that's on top. Let's fetch here. Let's get this one. There you go. Now let's see. Depending on which land you wasteland, this does tell me something. Fortunately, Pyroblasts. Okay. So I was right about not using the spell.
The Force of Will that.
Exactly. I was thinking I had this. I had the option of using Force of Will or Vines when you had Pyrokinesis.
Yeah, you would have gotten definitely.
I would have gotten blown out. But well, I got blown out still. So. Johan, thanks man for being here. Cheers. Another wasteland. Yeesh. Scary. Okay, I'm just gonna pass.
Okay. So my read is you've got some amount of counter magic and pump spells. Just no more threats. Maybe an Ink Moth that you don't want to play.
Do you want to play this? I guess so. Since you have double Wasteland. Probably gonna need it at a certain point.
I've assembled a Delver. 3 damage a turn.
Let's get rid of it.
Oh, alright.
Okay, that's a fine draw. Let's see what we can find. That's a shuffle. I probably just need a threat. Okay, let's pass. Actually, I think I've been playing this wrong all the time. I probably should have attacked with Noble each turn if I wasn't going to do anything with it anyway. If I wasn't blocking, I should have attacked with Noble. It can be relevant. I mean, I have to respect the fact that I can. If I, you probably never play around regular damage wins anyway, so I have to keep this in mind.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't really consider that.
So that's my bad. I should have attacked with Nobles. Or Noble. My opponent, or someone in chat, someone thought he says, "Are you afraid of removal?" Yes, that's definitely always true. But whenever you ask me this, whatever opponent, whatever deck, my answer will always be yes. That's the thing about Infect. We're always afraid of removal. Infect is like protect the queen game plan always.
Yeah. Okay, so you're at 7. So I'm actually...
Spare me.
I'm gonna do this.
Yikes. I'm not sure. No need to waste time. Let's just get rid of it. You mean in this situation? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, probably the only way how I can steal this game is if I find Blighted Agent and Eli does not have removal. Otherwise, I think I'm just dead.
Yeah, and with triple Wasteland, I'm somewhat inclined to start, like, actually Wastelanding you. Let's take a drop.
Okay.
And I think I'll just hold the other 2.
Snoop. Okay, resolves.
Yeah, can't Pendlehaven an 0-1.
Yep, dead. I had Double Invigorate and Daze in hand. So I had lethal, but I needed to find the threat.
Yeah, I mean, I have Red Blast and Tarfire are my last 2 cards.
Yeah, okay, those were 2 cards that were pretty good. Nice. So I think, yeah, if removal is definitely in the way that the game gets decided right now.
Yeah, that the Pyrokinesis into Expert was definitely the turning point. Of
Exactly. And I was considering about what I should do because I had Force Will plus Brainstorm and Vines, but it actually didn't matter because you could, if I had gone for Force Will, you'd have blasted. If I had, well, if I gone for Vines, you did what you did right now, right? So the reasoning behind this, I wanted to keep the Brainstorm, so I didn't want to Force Will because I knew that the Brainstorm was one of the ways how I can still win had my Vines worked. And this is why I did this.
Yeah.
I would also play around
the Pyroblast.
The Pyroblast, exactly. Because you play 3 Pyroblasts in the sideboard. I wanted to play like that, but I was using statistics like 3 Pyroblasts, 2 munitions, but yeah, still, if you have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, also Jump Home does the same thing there, so it's actually 4 versus 3.
Oh yeah, sure.
But there's like kind of an argument that forcing me to use the expert, like it's a better exchange for you to trade Vines, Elf Hierarch with Pyrokinesis, Matron Expert, right?
Yeah.
Like that's.
If I want to lose a battle,
cards,
I'd rather lose 1 card than 2. That's probably the summary, I'd say.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
What do you say, Eli? Want to play one more? Then
yeah, we could do one more.
I probably have to head to bed because I don't know. It's let's see, 20 before 10 where I live. But,
okay.
You're actually the first American on my on this series.
Oh, cool.
So that's pretty nice. It requires a lot of planning because it's nice that it's like what, like 3 o'clock where you live right now, right?
Almost 4.
Almost 4. So it's sometimes a bit difficult to arrange this, but I love having everyone from all over the world in this series. So that's nice.
You're Belgian, correct?
Exactly.
Yes, I worked for a Belgian chocolatier once a couple summers actually.
Really? And
yeah, he came to my town, opened a chocolate shop, and my girlfriend was his apprentice, helping him make stuff, and he hired me just to help around at the shop for a little while.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Belgium is known for. Well, if Belgium is known for anything, it's probably beer and chocolate. That's probably it. But I'm gonna be honest, it's nice to be known for beer and chocolate, honestly, as a country. Yeah, that's
that's not a bad.
That's not a bad thing. And a dysfunctional government as well, but that's a different thing. We're not going to discuss that on this stream.
I think I have you beaten that department.
Okay, yeah, for sure. But now it's all right, I guess.
Yeah.
Did I? Who started last time?
I did.
Okay.
So you could start.
Actually, the die rolls have been correct all time, right? They swapped. Yep. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, that's fine. Let's keep. I haven't had the nuts yet.
Yeah. My hand is also fine.
Yeah, being invaded in World War II. I'm not sure if we're famous for that, but yeah, if you want to know anything about
thing that happened.
Yeah, exactly. It happened. We was just like, nah, let's skip this one, dude. Let's see. And fries, yeah, fries for sure. But I actually don't think that Belgium is known for its fries.
There was a Belgian restaurant in my college town that was Belgian, like pommes frites, and they were very, very good.
They were definitely good. The fries were actually invented in Belgium, but I don't think we are known for that.
I didn't know that.
Exactly, so yeah. I'm not going to attack with Elf because I want to block Lackey. And I don't want to block... If I have to choose between Agent or Elf to keep, well, of course I'm going to keep Agent.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming you would always attack with Lackey anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's block this one.
I think this is my best line.
Another one, okay. Wow. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty insane. That's pretty ridiculous, honestly. I don't think you have anything in the main deck that can kill me here. You need... Let's see, your removal costs 2 at least.
Yeah,
I think you only have the Incinerator and the Expert, so if I go for it here, you're just dead, right? I think so, let me check.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just top decked Invigorate, so
Okay.
I already had one, so yeah, easy mode turned on. And this is what I mean. If you have the nuts, especially game 1, just go for it.
Yeah. I could have tried to play around this a little bit by porting the Nexus, but I didn't want to sequence that way because I have a Chain Whirler in my hand, so I wanted to triple. I have a third mountain, so I was trying to line that up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you had triple threats, triple double home spell.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'll lose to.
Yeah, exactly. I already had the Infect in my opening hand, so I just needed one more pump spell, and yeah, that was definitely a good one. So same sideboarding again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the draw now, so get rid of this, get rid of that.
Very even so far.
Yeah, indeed. That's what I expected.
Exactly even in matches and games.
That's what I expected. I think the matchup is definitely 50-50. Of course, it always depends on the skill of your opponent, but I think you're a very good player. I know what I'm doing with my deck, so that's definitely something to be... Well, probably if I were to ask you how's your matchup against certain decks, probably most of your matchups are over 50%, right? Even like...
Well, yeah, if you're just like... talking strictly
exactly
like recorded numbers. Yeah, I used to keep track of my data, but it kind of stressed me out too much, because if you ever go on a losing streak, then your mind is like, oh my god, the number's going down.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do keep track of it,
bad.
but I sometimes catch myself doing this where I'm like, what have I lost my mojo? What's going on?
This matchup heavily play draw dependent. It's a pretty big swing player draw.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably true for every aggro versus aggro strategy.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. I have the first time this card in my hand ever. I think it's good in the matchup. Okay, so that's a pretty good draw here. And I think I'm just going to do this now. Let's see what we have. Another one. That's scary. That is scary.
That's kind of signaled by the fact that I played the one out anyway. So. Okay.
But I think you maybe had another one draw because you played the Goblin Lacquer with Kevin, and I assumed you were just going to do this because you were safe anyway.
I drew the cavern, so.
Okay.
All right. I think I want both these lackeys to connect. So. Actually, that's probably wrong.
Interesting spot for me here. So I could try and save this elf here, but you're definitely going to be able to connect with one, which means your best creature will just always hit the board. So do I want to save this elf, or do I just want to try and win with Nexus? I think I want to risk it here. I'm just gonna let elf die.
Okay.
Let's see how good your lackeys are.
So here's the am I a coward or am I brave? Because I can put in Muxus, or I can get Trash Master and put that in and like 100% not die to Inkmoth.
That's yeah. I honestly can't tell you.
It's very close because Trash Master also puts on a pretty fast clock, because I'll have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in damage in play.
I guess if I have the combo in hand, getting Muxus could be bad.
Yeah, but Muxus could also flip Trash Master.
Yeah, that's true.
Skirk plus Pashlik, Chain Whirler or Expert for the Noble Hierarch.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be, do you want to play a bit of a guessing game, or do you want to be more safe but less aggressive?
Yeah. It's a pretty tough call.
I can honestly see why we would choose for any line. It's probably going to be play style more here than the best play.
Yeah. So if I put in Trash Master, I can flip. If I flip a Skirk, that increases my odds of being able to interact because I could hit another Matron and then Matron for Jump Home. I think my odds are pretty good if I go for Muxus. Like this could definitely kill me, but
All right, let's see how good it is.
Okay, there's Pashlik.
Pashlik is good.
No
Do we have a way
outlet.
to sacrifice? Not yet. Okay, that's actually what I wanted to draw, so I think you're dead.
Yeah, 4 lackeys instead of 3 lackeys, 1 Skirk is a pretty huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. And I just needed to draw land, so I could exactly use Become Immense here.
Yeah, alright, you got me.
Nice. I don't win very often after Muxus connects. That doesn't happen.
I mean, that was about as bad as a Muxus can be in that it hits no removal for the Hierarch, it hits no sack outlet, it hits no Trash Master.
Exactly.
I mean, if I'd gone for the Trash Master, I have a War Chief in hand, and then I'm attacking for a lot. So I do want a 2-turn clock.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's close.
Yeah, for sure. Hitting Noble wouldn't have changed anything because I had one more card in the graveyard, but not hitting a sack outlet was probably here the thing that's that was the.
I could probably have done the math on that. Like if I cared, I had 3 sack outlets in the deck, 4 sack outlets with Trash Master. I don't know what I honestly don't know how to do that math of like.
It's difficult because that's really
4 out of 6 with a 4 outer with 6 looks, but you have to hit a combination of like a million. Like there's like so many variables.
Yeah, definitely. I honestly have been enjoying these games a ton. I think even though the matchup has become more difficult for Infect, it has become more fun. And but that's probably play style, but I like when a matchup is very interactive and I have to do a lot of thinking before playing something. That's what I enjoy. And we had this very often where I was like, so if I do this, then that could happen, and then I have to do this, but then this is a possibility. And you had the same, right? And that's what I believe is interesting Magic. That's what I love.
Yeah, I totally agree. Those were definitely interesting games.
Yeah, for sure. Let me quickly ask chat if you have any other questions for us. Do tell them right now, and then we can answer them for you. But quickly, before we start wrapping up the stream, Eli, I want to thank you for being here. And maybe if you want to share some of your contacts or where people can find you, feel free to do so.
Yeah. So I stream here on Twitch, twitch.tv/goblinlackey1, and you can follow me on Twitter at the same handle. I put all of my stream VODs on YouTube. You can look up goblinlackey1 streaming on YouTube and find those. I also have a Patreon where I do exclusive content and articles and cyber guides for the most part. So I just finished a couple days ago my big kind of overhaul article talking about the bans and how that changes Legacy as a format and how that changes how Goblins is built.
And this is Goblins only, right?
Basically, I mean, I talk about Legacy as a whole because I'm trying to discuss, what are the decks that are going to appear in the metagame, and how does that inform how we build Goblins. So it's like a 4,500 word article. It's quite extensive.
Yeah, that's big.
And I'm working on a sideboard guide I had been working on it for my old list, but I've come across this new list, and the Snoops have been performing, so I'm gonna do that as I go.
What did you cut for your Snoops?
There was a third pile driver and Grenzo Havoc Razor, which is a 2/2 legend with kind of funky text that ends up being relevant in a lot of combo matchups because you exile the top cards of their decks for each creature that connects, and you can cast them for any mana cost. And this ends up being relevant against combo decks that play discard spells because you can cast their discard spells, or depths you can like cast their Sylvan Scryings and Crop Rotations to find your Wasteland and Caracas. And then against like Storm or Doomsday, you hit discard spells. Against Doomsday, you can sometimes just deck them by exiling the top cards of their deck.
That's awesome. That really is awesome.
Grenzo's a really sick card, but Snoop does a similar thing that it's like playing off the top of deck, but it's playing off of your deck. So it's a little more synergistic. It's the highs aren't as high because you don't get to do the silly things that you can do with Grenzo. Like I've hit with Grenzo and like cast my opponent's Jace, and you can have like really really ridiculous things happen. But Snoop will deliver pieces that work with your deck a little bit more consistently.
That makes sense. That really does make sense. Okay, I think we are able to wrap up the stream right now because it's 10 o'clock where I live, so it's time to go to bed for me. But Eli, I want to thank you so much for being here. I had a lot of fun in our games, and they were so interesting, so diverse. So yeah, thanks for being here, man. It was an honor to have you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. Glad to be here. All
right, awesome. I'm going to send you all guys over to Julian. He's streaming. Let's see what he's doing. I think he's doing a queue, but anyway, as always, it was a lot of fun. And if you have enjoyed this content and you haven't done so, smash that follow button. You'll get notified whenever I go online. And if you want to help me out, consider subscribing with no obligations whatsoever. Next week, can I spoil this already? Maybe, I don't know. What do you think, Eli? Should I spoil the next next guest?
I think you should.
I think, okay, let's go for it then. Next week I have Rich Callie over, Learn to Love on Magic Online. He is a Delver expert, and well, when I started creating this series, that was when Dreadhorde was still legal, and then for sure it was always Rug Delver they was going to play, but we're not sure yet which Delver list he's going to play, but he will play the list that he thinks is going to be the best Delver moving forward. But I'll have more information about that probably in the course of this week, so if you follow me on Twitter, I will notify you for sure. Anyway, guys, that was it for today. Let's raid Julian, shall we? Say hi to him for me. And yeah, hope to see you all next week. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.